From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
More people have now died from the coronavirus in the United States as the number of new cases continues to soar. What the government is doing to stop the spread and what you can do to stay healthy.
Plus, rain and cooler temps could return to the valley before we warm up for this work week.
And how the Mexico-Canada Trade Agreement could impact prices at your local grocery store.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Tyler Mannion.
And I'm Danielle Malkin. Thank you for joining us. Washington State announced 4 more coronavirus deaths today, bringing the total death total in the United States to 6.
With 100 confirmed cases in the U.S. right now, both government and health officials are saying we should expect the virus to continue to spread.
Globally, there are more than 89,000 confirmed cases and more than 3,000 deaths.
Back here in the Valley, Governor Doug Ducey held a news conference to update Arizonans on the state's preparations for the deadly coronavirus.
Madison Atkinson is joining us now with what the governor had to say.
I'm here at the Arizona Public Health Laboratory where the news conference wrapped up about 90 minutes ago. The Arizona Department of Health officials said Arizona can now test for the coronavirus without sending samples to the CDC. Dr. Kara Chris says the state will have the ability to test 450 cases per day and that they don't expect a shortage of test kits. Those tests can be tested quickly, within a day or 2. She says 26 people have been tested here in Arizona. 24 were not infected. 1 patient in the state with pending lab results. The other, who did test positive, has recovered from the virus. But Chris says they do expect more cases here in our state.
We know the disease is spreading, and we can expect additional cases in Arizona. When a new disease like COVID-19 is detected, only the most severe cases are initially identified. As we learn more about the emerging disease, we expand who we are testing based on improved understanding of the symptoms and the disease spread. The CDC recently expanded the case definition of who should be tested. Based on this, we expect we will have additional cases in Arizona. But we want to assure you this is typical in disease surveillance.
Chris recommends if you are feeling symptoms and need to be seen by a doctor, call ahead so the actions can be taken to protect patients and healthcare workers. In Phoenix, Madison Atkinson, Cronkite News.
The federal government is prepared to fight the coronavirus. Vice President Mike Pence calls it an all-hands-on-deck effort. He says more than 15,000 testing kits are out and that the FDA passed a testing regimen that state and local officials can use. Yesterday, President Trump announced there are new screening procedures for the disease. He also tweeted that people who are traveling from high-risk countries will be screened for coronavirus once they arrive in the U.S.
Many people are asking what precautions they should be taking to avoid getting the coronavirus. Cronkite News reporter Madison LaBerge is here to break down the top 5 things you need to know.
Stores have been running out of masks, and locally, Fry's food stores have put restrictions on how many cold and flu products you can buy in an order. The U.S. Surgeon General taking to Twitter to say in all caps, "Stop buying masks. Masks aren't needed by those who are healthy, and it could make it harder for healthcare workers to get them. So what can you do?" According to the CDC, the virus is spread through respiratory droplets that are produced when someone with COVID-19 coughs or sneezes. So cover your coughs and sneezes into a tissue and then throw that tissue away. Second, everyone should try to avoid touching their face. It's a difficult habit to break, but as you touch things throughout the day, when you touch your face, all those germs are then transferred onto your face. This can be bad news considering the eyes, mouth, and nose are entrances into your body. Cleaning commonly used surfaces daily is another great way to prevent catching the virus. Cleaning and disinfecting areas like counters, doorknobs, phones, and light switches can limit how much contact you have with germs. Staying home when you're sick is important, especially if you're experiencing any of the coronavirus symptoms like a fever, cough, and shortness of breath. While these are similar to flu symptoms, the CDC recommends calling your doctor to come up with a plan to get you seen without risking the health of other patients. And you should have an at-home plan for sheltering if needed. Ideally, it would include a separate room and bathroom for the sick person to use. But the absolute most important way to prevent contracting and spreading the disease is washing your hands. While this sounds like a no-brainer, you might not be doing it correctly. I took a trip to the closest sink to show you how it should be done. The first step in correctly washing your hands is properly wetting them. This can be with warm or cold water. After you have wet hands, you can then apply soap. It is absolutely essential that you lather the backs of your hands, between your fingers, under your nails, and make sure to wash your thumbs. That's a commonly missed scrubbing location. Scrub your hands for at least 20 seconds. This is about the time it would take you to hum the happy birthday song twice. After you're done, rinse your hands well under clean, running water. Dry your hands using a clean towel or air dry them. I luckily had a motion-sensored water faucet, but if you don't, make sure you turn the faucet off with the towel so your hands stay as clean as possible.
2 Arizona universities have canceled their study abroad programs following fears over the spread of the virus. The University of Arizona halted its summer programs to South Korea and China, and Arizona State University ended its current spring program in South Korea. The moves come after the CDC recommended Wednesday that people avoid all non-essential travel overseas.
Much is still unknown about the coronavirus outbreak, and health officials are urging caution to those who are traveling. They say anyone crisscrossing the globe should steer clear of heavily impacted areas and exercise some of the same kinds of preventative measures they'd use to avoid influenza and other illnesses. Right now, the U.S. State Department's travel warning for China is at the highest level, a level 4, do not travel. And the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is discouraging non-essential travel to South Korea, Italy, and Iran. Level 2 warnings urging increased caution are also in effect for Japan and Hong Kong due to the outbreak. So we want to hear from you. Are you planning to cancel your upcoming travel plans because of coronavirus concerns? Why or why not? Just go to our Cronkite News Facebook and Twitter feeds to join in the conversation.
For continuing coverage on the coronavirus, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and find us online at cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
In late January, President Donald Trump signed the United States Mexico-Canada Trade Agreement. The deal is an updated version of the 25-year-old NAFTA.
Cronkite News reporter Marcela Baedo traveled to Eloy to meet with a local dairy farmer to find out how this new agreement will impact farmers and prices at the grocery store.
With family farms and thousands of jobs, one local dairy farmer shares with us how this will impact his livelihood. Here at the Caballero Dairy Farm, 10,000 cows are spread out across 2,000 acres. All of this owned by farmer Craig Caballero and his wife.
Mom and Dad started in the dairy business in 63 years ago in 1957.
And ever since then, they've been producing milk for grocery stores across the state and exporting to Mexico.
Mexico specifically is our biggest trade partner.
According to the United Dairymen of Arizona, exporting milk to Mexico accounts for nearly $200 million in Arizona. That's why the recent passing of the tri-national trade deal between the U.S., Mexico, and Canada is so important to Caballero.
It was absolutely critical, and over 70% of those exports go to Mexico.
Milk bought in grocery stores comes from cows just like this. And according to Caballero, with this new USMCA deal, they won't be impacting any prices at the grocery store. The deal signed by President Donald Trump was passed with agreement from both sides, says Jonas Gamzo during an interview with Cronkite News when the deal was first signed.
Both parties can claim victory. Obviously, renegotiating NAFTA was one of the Trump administration's kind of primary policy goals.
And one of the president's supporters, Senator Martha McSally, also backed the deal and spoke about it the day it was signed.
Trade with Mexico and Canada creates 228,000 jobs in Arizona and almost $10 billion of economic activity, and it's only going to grow.
And growth is one of the aspects of the deal Caballero is looking forward to.
It will absolutely be a financial benefactor to us
by turning milk from these cows into even more profits. According to Caballero, with this deal, it would actually close a pricing gap for milk, and this would impact local farmers here in Arizona. At the digital desk, Marcela Baedo, Cronkite News.
Coming up next, on Cronkite News at 5, the president is proposing major budget cuts to the U.S. Department of the Interior.
So what does that mean for you and the environment? We'll explain after the break.
And 5 Democrats remain in the fight for the U.S. presidential nomination. We'll have the very latest on that next.
Cronkite Noticias is the Spanish-speaking division of Cronkite News, covering topics such as economics, education, sustainability, immigration, and border relations. Cronkite Noticias strives to serve the Spanish-speaking community in Arizona. Under the guidance of prominent Spanish-speaking professionals, students at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism develop content for our broadcast partner, Univision, as well as on Facebook and Twitter. Explore Cronkite Noticias at cronkitenoticias.azpbs.org.
With wildfires, a scarcity of water, and other environmental issues facing the Earth today, it's critical to stay up to date with local impacts of a changing climate. That's why we created Elemental, covering sustainability, a multimedia collaboration between public television and radio stations. From climate change to water conservation to renewable energy and much more, Elemental covers the latest in sustainability news. Find our stories on our website, elementalreports.com.
Welcome to another edition of Cronkite Sports Now. I'm Taylor Rocha. Let's talk sports.
For the latest on local sports and beyond, we've got you covered.
Let's do this thing.
We challenge reporters to go beyond, a game story. We want stories with depth.
It's just a crucial step from the college experience into the professional experience while you're still in school.
At Cronkite Sports Now, watch the journalists of tomorrow cover sports today.
Started watching Horizon. It was all about local, detailed information, interviewing representatives, the debates. It was all local, and having moved here from Minnesota, I really didn't have a lay of the land, so it was a way to get details on the new state I'd moved to, and I liked it. It wasn't combative, it was informative. It was just, here's the facts. That sucked me in quite quickly.
For more information about including Arizona PBS in your future plans, visit azpbs.org/giving.
President Donald Trump has called for major budget cuts regarding agencies tasked with implementing environmental regulations.
Reporter Madison Staten is in the studio to explain what these agencies do and how these proposed budget cuts could affect their work.
The president's proposed 2021 federal budget includes major cuts to the U.S. Department of the Interior. But what does the department actually oversee? Let's take a look at some of the agencies that could be impacted by the proposed cuts. The Department of the Interior oversees 9 bureaus that help manage America's natural and cultural resources. One is the Bureau of Reclamation. It brings water to more than 31 million people. It's best known for building dams, power plants, and canals. The Bureau provides water to farmers and irrigation, and is the second largest producer of hydroelectric power within the U.S. This agency's main focus is on managing fish and wildlife. That includes enforcing federal wildlife laws. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service restores fisheries, manages migratory birds, and works to conserve wildlife habitat. It's also responsible for the Wildlife Sport, Fish, and Restoration Program, which provides funding to states. Meanwhile, the Bureau of Land Management is responsible for 1 out of every 10 acres in the U.S. This includes overseeing land use for recreation, energy development, timber harvesting, and livestock grazing. It also manages the Wild Horse and Burro Adoption Program. The Bureau of Indian Affairs is the oldest agency of the group. It provides services like grants and contracts to nearly 2 million American Indians and Alaska Natives. The agency is also responsible for holding land in trust for the American Indians, Indian tribes, and Alaska Natives. The president's proposed budget for the Department of the Interior would cut funds. In the newsroom, Madison Staten, Cronkite News.
The 2020 presidential campaign starts the week with one less Democratic candidate.
Former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg ended his run last night.
Decision to suspend my campaign for the presidency.
Former mayor's unlikely bid started last year in South Bend, Indiana, with a staff of 4. But that changed over time, and Buttigieg broke barriers, becoming the first openly gay man to collect primary delegates for a major party's presidential nomination.
I want to congratulate him for running a brilliant campaign. He is the first openly gay candidate for President of the United States, and he did extraordinarily well. I just want to welcome all of his supporters into our movement.
President Trump taking to Twitter, saying Buttigieg's exit gives former Vice President Joe Biden a boost. And now we're learning that Biden will reportedly get a double endorsement from Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar at a rally in Dallas. Senator Klobuchar is wrapping up her presidential run after finishing a distant 6th in Nevada and South Carolina. The new endorsements come on the eve of Super Tuesday, when 14 states are voting and a third of the party's pledged candidates are at stake.
Coming up after the break, are rain chances on the rise here in the valley? I'll have the answer for you in just a few minutes. Don't go away.
Stay in the know on the go. At Cronkite News, we work hard to report the facts and keep you updated, whether we're on set or on the scene.
Taking it from the studio to the field. So I'm here in South Phoenix.
In Phoenix, we're just a click away. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, or find us online at cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
You'll find there's never a dull moment in this house.
Welcome to Downton.
This house has no secrets.
Downton is catching up with the times we live in.
This calls for a toast.
It makes you want to jig about, though, doesn't it?
Heavens, we are quite a party. Oh, goody goody.
Every day I wake up, my first thought is, how can I serve this community?
The biggest hurdle was not taking PTSD personally.
Would you welcome, please, the amazing.
Everybody that watches this, they say that I am the greatest that they've ever seen.
By the year 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. Before Professor Halden, I had an insane amount of passion, but I almost felt helpless because I didn't know how to use it. Professor Halden gave me a chance to make a difference. Being at a place like ASU allows you to take these big leaps. Ultimately, the biggest problems in the world cannot be solved alone.
NASA and SpaceX are teaming up to chase asteroids. The space agency has chosen SpaceX to provide launch services for its Psyche mission. NASA wants to learn more about metal-rich, sometimes fast-moving objects out in space. The mission will focus on the asteroid that orbits the sun between Mars and Jupiter. It's named Psyche, hence the name of the mission. The Psyche mission should launch in July 2022.
Now, Danielle, I am no astronomer myself, but pretty sure it's kind of cold out there in space, no?
I haven't made a visit to space anytime
No,
recently, not in my frequent flyer, but Miller Thomas is here to join us. Let us know whether we're going to have a cold week here in the valley or whether things are warming up for us.
Yeah, we see some cooler temperatures today on this Monday, but we'll probably see the 80s by the end of the week. But if we take a look at temperatures right now across the state, as we take a look, we see 68 out in Phoenix. Then along the Colorado River Valley out west, we'll see temperatures in the mid-60s. Then if you're attending NAU, if you're up in Flagstaff, you'll see those temperatures at 43 degrees. But how about the rest of your Monday evening? We've got 65 as you guys start to drive home. And then those temperatures are going to cool all the way to 58 around 9 o'clock before tailing off at 56 degrees as we head into the 10 o'clock hour. Now, how about the lows for tonight? We're going to see 51 is the average of this time of year. We're going to be right around that. 49 in Phoenix. 76 and 45 out in Surprise. If you plan on catching any spring training baseball tomorrow, you're going to see upper 60s all day long. So maybe you want to grab a sweater if you want to catch a game tomorrow. Now, how about the temperatures for the rest of your Tuesday across the state? We got 74 in Phoenix, mid-70s out west, and then if you're up north, you're going to see temperatures in the upper 50s and lower 60s. Now, how about your next 3 days? We got 74 on Tuesday, those temperatures increasing all the way to 83 on Thursday. Then how about your guys' weekend? We got 87 on Friday, 84 on Saturday, and then 71 on Sunday. Then with the new week, we'll be flirting with the 80s on Monday. Miller Thomas from the Cronkite News Weather Center.
Up next, spring training is in full swing.
We'll show you how one Milwaukee Brewers player is trying to make his mark on the team.
Ready to watch the best of PBS anytime, anywhere, on nearly any device? It's easy with the free PBS Video app. Simply download the PBS Video app on your mobile or streaming device. Now you can watch the latest PBS episodes or catch up on the shows you missed, discover new favorites from PBS, and local content from your PBS station.
The people are saying they're not happy. Do you accept that?
Irrational people are not often convinced by facts.
Okay, well, let's talk about people you hate, though.
You've said that categorizing yourself is a terrible mistake.
That's pretty controversial.
Well, it's the truth.
Weekdays at midnight on Arizona PBS.
I'm Judy Woodruff, anchor and managing editor of the PBS NewsHour. The journalists of tomorrow face a fast-changing media landscape, but quality news remains vitally important to our communities, our country, and our world. At ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, students learn solid, reliable reporting, holding the powerful accountable, and rebuilding the public's trust. The Cronkite School and Arizona PBS, preparing the next generation for a stronger future of journalism.
As journalists at Cronkite News, we report on stories that matter to you by focusing on the local impact. We dig deeper and work tirelessly to keep you informed.
Live in Wickerburg.
Live in Los Angeles. In Cleveland. In Washington. In Louisville.
From Jerusalem.
Live in Philadelphia. From around the world to right here in Phoenix.
At Cronkite News, we report the facts and stick to the truth.
The weather around Phoenix is just beautiful today. Let's take a look at the weather around the valley.
Thank you for joining us for the special edition of Cronkite News.
Here are the top stories that we're tracking today at noon.
Some of the best players for their program.
Hey, I'm Rick Steves. You know, I don't go anywhere without my passport. And now, thanks to PBS Passport, you can travel with me and watch all 10 seasons of Rick Steves Europe and all my travel specials. This exclusive streaming service is just for our members. Not only can you see all my shows, but you can see thousands of hours of your favorite public television shows. Become a member today and get your passport.
Playing baseball is tough, no matter what level.
And trying to play in the MLB, well, now that's in a league of its own, Danielle.
Our very own Sean Rice joins us now with the story of one player's journey to the pros. Sean?
There is one two-way player that is trying to make a name for himself this spring training. I caught up with a player that is truly doing it all for the Milwaukee Brewers. Posting a 2.59 ERA in Double-A, and also as a hitter, sporting a .341 batting average between Double and Single-A as a center fielder.
Oh man, he's awesome. He's fun to watch for sure. I mean, he got right in there last year with his first couple at bats and got a couple knocks and did a great job for us. Definitely helped us win some games. And I mean, on the mound, he's something else, man. He's awesome. He's filthy. So I love catching him. And like you said, we've been coming up together. So it's been nice to be with him and see what he can do.
This spring, Clayton Andrews is a non-roster spring invitee, which means a roster spot is not guaranteed for the young left-hander.
He did a really good job. All I know about him is he got people out. I think you'll see Clayton. He's very unique. He's got a unique skill set, and I look forward to seeing him. I love watching him pitch.
A key to his success has been knowing which position he would play every day.
When I show up to the park, I don't ever do both on the same day. The Brewers have done a really good job of, helping me find a good balance between the two, so I can focus on both when I need to.
Even Andrews' teammates know the challenge of being a two-way player in professional baseball.
Pitched a little bit in high school, but nothing to account for. So what he's doing is incredible, especially at the professional level and getting a big league camp invite. I don't think I could do it. My arm would probably fall off if I did that, but he's done a great job, and it's remarkable to watch him.
For now, the left-hander will solely be a pitcher in big league camp as he tries to take it all in stride.
I like to have fun when I get to the ballpark. I'm not the kind of guy that's like, I'm super serious when I'm about to pitch, or I'm super serious right before the game if I'm playing in the field. I like to be loose and have a good time with my teammates, and I try and keep that the same regardless of what I'm doing that day.
Andrews will likely begin the season in the minor leagues, but this type of talent is sure to make the big leagues soon.
And Sean, how common is it for players to kind of play in multiple positions in one, team at a time?
It's not very common at all. I think the only most popular MLB player is Shohei Ohtani. He's really the only one who has done it. But guys like Clayton Andrews, I think, are going to make that a little more popular here in the coming years.
And it's great to see all this new talent coming up, playing both sides of the baseball field. Sean, thanks for that great story.
Absolutely.
And that's going to wrap us up here. So for Cronkite News, that's all from us.
For Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Have a great night.